So the NBA is back tonight. I'm excited, man. We all know I'm a big NBA fan. But with the NBA, there's always storylines. Like what's going to happen with James Harden? That's a huge storyline that's going to be on the airwaves until something changes. Or how is Kyrie going to deal with the media? You know what I'm saying? There's always headlines to the season. These are my five headlines. These are my five. Okay, these are the headlines that I am excited to see. Now these aren't in any order, but I'm excited to see. Number five, and again, I understand I'm go like number five through one, but there's no order. But the fifth storyline or one storyline I'm going to really pay attention to was the bubble a fluke for Miami. We saw a lot of teams, and especially a lot of young players, really benefit from the bubble and really benefit from the AAU type style, from the no fans, it's just you and the ball and not trying to play in front of a crowd and stuff like that. Now, I understand that there are some teams that aren't going to play, with a crowd due to COVID and everything, but I'm excited to see how Miami looks. I'm excited to see was the emergence of Tyler Hero just because of the bubble, was the emergence of Duncan Robinson just because of the bubble. Is Bam Adebayo going to make that step yet again? Can Jimmy Butler lead them back to the promised land that is the NBA Finals? I'm excited to see was the bubble more of a fluke or a regularity for the Miami Heat. Another storyline I'm looking for is how is Westbrook going to pair with Bradley Beal? Of course, we know what happened with the Heat. I mean, with the Houston and Westbrook. But I'm excited to see. A lot of reports are coming out saying Westbrook doesn't like the way that he has been portrayed as a teammate. So I want to see is that going to change? Is Westbrook going to be, is he going to finally concede and understand that he's not the most important piece in that, in this table? And how is he going to fare with Bradley Beal? We've seen Bradley Beal play alongside John Wall and how that's looked. Now I want to see how he's going to look playing alongside Russell Westbrook and vice versa. The next one, what will a limited offseason do to the bubble to teams in the bubble? Again, I understand there are teams like Golden State, teams like the Bulls that didn't, or teams like Atlanta that didn't go in the bubble. And I want to know how teams like Denver, teams like the Lakers, teams like Miami, teams like the Bucks, teams that went deep in the bubble, or deep in the playoffs in the bubble. I want to see how a limited offseason does for them. Now, I understand that the women's side of the team, women's basketball, they usually go from one season to like a lot of them go overseas maybe a week or two after the season ends, and shouts out to them. But I want to see what this does physically on their body and their mental health, I guess. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see, those teams and how they adjust to such, the shortest offseason in NBA history. So another one is I'm excited to see what Steph looks like solo. We've seen Steph. Steph has 2 MVPs. He's been to the final, has 3 championships. But I'm excited to see what he looks like without another Hall of Fame level offensive weapon around him. Like, we've seen what he looks like with KD. We've seen what he looks like with Clay. But with KD gone, with Clay hurt, I want to see how he can, what he looks like. I want to see if he's able to lead that team that has some pretty good pieces, but lead that team to at least a playoff berth, or at least a high playoff team, maybe third or fourth. I don't know. I just want to see where he can do. And I'm excited to see him go off night after night. Hell, we've seen the last, 2 preseason games he was in. He scored like 29 each game. So I'm excited to see. And also, my last storyline I'm excited to see is I want to know how Kyrie and KD work. 2 people. Now, they did look really good in their last game or last preseason game against the Celtics, but I want to see, how they coincide during the game, during when games really count. I understand people say, who's going to take the last shot. Honestly, I don't think that matters, but I do think that defined roles are very important. So I want to know who is the leader, who is this and the third. I know Kyrie said there doesn't have to be a leader. It can be a leader one night, or I can be a leader one night and he can be. I don't know if that works so much. So I'm excited to see how they coincide together. So